right. Hey, so let's go to the total opposite end of what we're talking about here with damn lie number 3. Online learning is cheaper, better, doesn't require pants and showers. All of that I believe to be true. Can you pull up, Brian, the quote about online learning? This is a little damning, though. Fully online courses tend to work better with students who are older and more mature. This makes sense. A 2013 study by the researchers at the University of Pennsylvania examined 1 million users of 17 MOOCs, which stands for
massively open online class.
Right. So offered by Penn using the Coursera online platform. Persistent rates went from a high of 14 to a low of 2%, meaning those who were still participating in the class at the end of this of the course. That is pretty damning. So not only this, but can you pull up the second one? If you don't go to school, how are you going to go to frat parties when Will Ferrell shows up to do cake stands? What is I am very concerned about online learning as a whole, because it makes sense that older students who have motivation for a job would show up and do the thing. But I think we are awash in a sea of antisocial weirdos to begin with. Then what we're doing is taking kids and not putting them in the first place where they're going to live by themselves, have more responsibility, be in more situations where they're going to have to talk to a lot of different people. It seems like college, that other aspect of college that's not just class, is so important to human development. And we're just going to do away with that for what, monetary purposes?
We're not going to do away with it. I think the hype about online learning, and let's divide online learning into multiple modes. The ones that I referred to, MOOC, massive open online class, was supposed to be the knife that cut through that productivity problem that I mentioned. We were going to do to higher education what Ford did to manufacturing: get increased productivity growth and make college better and cheaper, as you pointed out.
Yep.
That was the premise of MOOCs, and there was a tremendous amount of hype about it from 2012 to 2018. By the way, my book was written before COVID, and COVID, I think, has verified most of what I was saying in that pre-COVID book about online education. It has a role to play in American higher education going forward. It will not displace bricks and mortar institutions that are built around the needs of 18 to 24-year-olds and around research and graduate training. The bricks and mortar are not going to come tumbling down because MOOCs offered by edX or Coursera are better than what we offer. The other thing is about price. Let me backtrack a little. MOOCs are massive. If you look at most of the online universities, like Arizona State has a very robust online program, fully online program for undergraduates. They are not MOOCs. The average class size in these online classes is essentially no different than the class size in their face-to-face classes. You do that and there's no cost saving. It's just a different mode of instruction, but without the cost saving. The cost to go to an Arizona State year in online is actually more expensive than to go face-to-face, which just blows people's minds. That online is not cheap. But the hope of cheap online was that it was course in a can taught, and you essentially taught yourself. But most people have come to realize that that kind of non-intensive, without other people, multiple choice based, that's not education.
Yeah.
It is sometimes useful as a method of fact delivery. In other words, it can be very good for somebody who's 28, 32, who wants to learn a set of procedures and facts and doesn't have the time or the inclination to go to a bricks and mortar school and mingle with 18-year-olds. It has a big role to play, but it is not going to destroy the traditional college model, which has so many psychological and social advantages going for it.
Yeah. I think it's the lunatic fringe argument. It's like capitalism, for example. Capitalism likes to exploit cheap labor. You know what's better than cheap labor? Free labor. So the lunatic fringe of capitalism is slavery. That's not good. Like, the system works, but let's not go to the fringe. Cheap education or affordable education is good, but not when you start to subtract all these things on the periphery that really makes, that makes you whole. I met my wife in college. A lot of my friends now come from college. Like, it was such a formative time for me. And to eliminate that aspect of this just seems super, super dumb. Plus,
the experience with COVID, I think, has convinced people of that. I have heard very few students who went through that experience saying, "Oh yeah, this is the future. I much preferred that to my face-to-face schooling."
Right.
The tons of people who said that, not.